Welcome to Vancouver Carpenter. Today I'm going to teach you guys how to mix a box of mud. It's a pretty simple video, but there is actually some basic techniques to it. So right here I've got one of my preferred brands of mud I like to use. This is the CGC Light Line. It's basically exactly the same as +3, the USG +3 that you guys have all over the States. It's just a lightweight all-purpose. I've got my buckets ready right here, and you can see I'm really particular about having the same buckets. I literally buy this brand, so the Certainty Mud, the all-purpose, so that I can have blue buckets. It's just one of those things. The only other bucket I have is one yellow one for taping. I don't even like this mud as much as this one, but I buy it just for the gray and blue buckets. So sorry for wasting your time with that little tidbit. That's just how particular us tapers can get. You know, I gotta have the same thing every day to get the same results. All right, so as you can see, this one's got this little bit of tape there. Just open it up and just fold it, or not fold, but unwrap it down onto the edges like that. And lift with only your back in a bending, twisting motion. Don't do that. Sorry, that's a Family Guy ripoff. But basically, place it right on the edge here. So I'm not like here, or I'm gonna dump half of it outside. It's just delicately balanced right on the edge here. And then quick, and the whole thing falls into the bucket. It's pretty straightforward. And then when you pull it up, you can right away just pull the box off before you pull the bag out. So now the bag comes out nice and easy. You turn it this way. You can put your taping tools that you don't want to dry out. You can do all kinds of things with this bag, but we're not doing that. We're just tossing it. And a little tidbit for your boxes. You want to keep your site looking tidy and impress the homeowners. Break the boxes down, hold it, and those in there. You can fit about 4 of those in there, and then you just got this nice tidy thing to throw in the recycling. Okay, so this mud right here is way too thick to use without mixing a fair bit of water into it. I'm just going to clean the edges here too. I like to keep the edges of my buckets nice and tidy. But yeah, you take a look at this, it's like really hard. You can see how I break it apart, how much air there is there, how dry this mud is. One of the first things I like to do, so you want a nice powerful drill if you're mixing a full bucket of mud. This one, you know, on some brands, there's way more water in them right off the bat, and you can actually give them a quick spin. This brand is like so dry that I actually have to like chop it up before I can even start to spin it around. I'm gonna add a little bit of water. This one needs at least this much just before it'll spin. And the first thing I need to do is chop it up a bit. Most other brands aren't this dry and you don't have to do this too, but this one is. Now the benefit to this mud being so dry is it makes for really good spackle. So if you're, why does someone have to do yard work when we're filming? Don't they know? The weed whacker, no less. Okay, anyways, it makes for really good spackle for like touching up walls before painting. It also makes for really good pre-fill if you don't have quickset, because it's so dry, yet it's an all-purpose, so it gets in there and actually doesn't shrink very much because there's so little water to come out of it. Anyways, now that we've got it, you know, most of the way chopped up, now it's time for a few delicate little spins. And if your feet are really dirty, do not put them on the top of the bucket. Mine actually aren't that bad. So out of laziness, I'm gonna put my foot on the top to hold it down. But normally what I would do, especially when my feet are really crusty, you just kind of gotta hug it like that. It can be a little hard on the knees. So I'm just giving this a few quick spins, because if I let it go, if I just full throttle, what's gonna happen is it's gonna all come out the edges and I'm gonna have mud down my legs, which I hate. I'm starting at the bottom here. If I was going up higher, I would do that. I'm starting at the bottom, lifting up. Oh, there we go. Now I can. So now I'm spinning at the top to get all that water mixed in. And this is for my finish coat, so I actually want a little bit more water than this in here. And how much water to add is going to depend on the brand. It's going to depend on what you're using the mud for. So I can't give you anything specific there. I just know for this one it's a finish coat, so I want it a bit wetter. Now that I've spun it, I can lift it up a bit higher and try and get this water into the mix real quick. Okay, see how it's starting to look smooth? Well, guess what? This isn't getting close to mixed because it's all wet on the top. So what I'm actually going to be doing is while I mix, I'm going to be pulling it up and down to get the drier mud up from the bottom and get it properly mixed. Because what can happen is you think you've got your mix just right, you're about halfway through the bucket and it starts having more bubbles in it and it starts being harder than what you want to use it for. So that's why I do this. Okay, so that's pretty wet, but it'll dry up on the ceiling as I'm using it and dry up on my hawk as the drywall pulls the moisture out. Also, it's gonna be nice and easy on my shoulder as I'm pushing this stuff around. Anyways, that is how I mix up a full bucket of mud. Now sometimes you might actually want to thicken up your mud if it's really wet, and I made a little clip for that, but I filmed it the other day, so here that is. So this is the second part of the video, which I've actually filmed first, but that's irrelevant, so I don't know why I'm telling you guys. But this is, I wanted to show you how to put half of a box of mud into a bucket. The reason is, we got this taping mud, and it's super thin for taping angles. But I have to put on corner beads, and that's gonna be a mess to put corner beads on with. So, if you are putting half a box of mud into something, to soften it up a little, or firm it up in this case, here's how I do that. So you fold this over here, just like you're about to do a regular bucket dump there. And here's how I like to do this. So you go till about half of it's coming out. You don't let the whole thing fall out, and then I usually just kind of go like that. So sometimes just pushing down on the mud helps it break off. So now that big chunk of dry mud in there is going to get this bucket of taping mud back to a reasonable corner bead consistency. And make sure you seal that up really good, or it's going to get a bunch of crunchy chunks in there. That's better. Still pretty thin, but it's a lot better. So that is how to mix half a box of mud. Say you don't want to do the whole thing. So it's not always going to take so long to mix up a bucket of mud. Like I said, this is a really dry mix, and also when I'm talking at you the whole time, it actually slows things down by like 75% or more. That's how I mix up mud. Hopefully you guys got something out of that. I know it can actually be one of those things that, you know, unless somebody shows you, you don't really know exactly how to do it. And I had been taping for a while, and then I saw even something as simple as pulling the box off and then the bag out. I didn't see that until I watched another taper mixing a box of mud, and I was like, oh, that's easier. So you can always learn something new. I want to say thanks for watching Vancouver Carpenter. Hopefully you got something out of this video. Till the next one.